feel free. Ooh, forgot to hit that record button. So hi, everybody. I'm going to say that again, that we're recording. Ooh. You okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Just had to accept the fact that we were recording on there.
Hold on, pause. It's going to record the audio coming from there. So we should be okay, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool, great. Okay, sorry. Welcome to all who are just watching this recording now. We are recording, so thank you very much. Go on to public comments. And let me make sure to check the chat to see if there is anyone looking to public comment. Oh, 21 people online. Going once. Going twice.
All right.
Okay. We will move along. So why don't we go ahead and vote on approving those minutes from February 15th. Any questions or comments about those meeting minutes?
Feels like February 15th is like forever ago.
And remember, we're keeping those in the board documents. So
yes.
they should be there if you're logged into board documents. I know there's a lot of windows that we're managing, and then now we have people in person. So they should be there in a link, hopefully. We're seeing them.
Yep.
So any questions?
I was absent from the February meeting, so.
Oh, okay. Do I have you as there?
I don't know. No,
okay,
but
I need to make sure.
I'm just saying I will.
He's not in there.
I won't motion to approve these because I wasn't there.
Okay,
You won't validate that they were true.
Good. You can see them and approve them. Yay, good.
I can see that.
I will second.
Have a motion.
Got a motion in a second.
Okay, Philip seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Good. All right, that was easy. Right on to Patrice.
Okay, so I do have one thing to add. I gave the board report so early this time. I do want to add that we are excited, and we've announced this in Parent Square already, but I do want to just do a shout out for our additional assistant principals. We actually have one in our audience right now for the 2022-2023 school year. That will be Eileen Costello. So we're very excited that she is going to be joining us as an assistant principal. And then many of you also know probably Nicole Tischer, who is our staffing specialist, and she is also coming on as an assistant principal for the 22-23 school year. So we're very excited about those two additions.
Excited for you guys as well. That's really cool.
Congratulations. So we also are just thrilled of the report we have for our accreditation update. I mean, those of you who listened to me talk about just the amount of work that went into the documentation, but we're just really thrilled that after going through Cognia very successfully the first week of February, we still are waiting for our final blessing from the Cognia organization. But we also now have IMC that is pushing us forward, and just want to really call out those accommodations that they mentioned that I think really speaks, because when you have a Montessori team coming in and the level of experience that these people had, because we were such a large public Montessori school, they wanted to make sure they had enough people here. And so they brought in a lot of what I call heavy hitters. So it was a little bit like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? But they were just awestruck. I mean, when we sat there realizing that, wow, that these people that we know are so impressive in Montessori world, and for them to just constantly be telling us, this is so impressive what you have done. So in the accreditation process, we could have had some work that was required action. We have no required actions that we have to do. Required actions are things you have to immediately fix so that they can recommend you. We have none. They have several accommodations. They called out, very similar to what Cognia did. They called out our vision and mission, called out the board's dedication to our vision and mission, and the community's dedication to our vision and mission, the training and professional development, our climate as a whole, the leadership, and just the environment. Meaning, and of course, in the Montessori language environment, they're talking about the classroom environment. So those were all of the accommodations that they gave us. And then they gave us some recommendations. And we weren't really surprised by the recommendations, but they just said, continuing to have a commitment to honor those Montessori environments and that work that needs to be done in those classrooms. Being able to provide more choice to students is something that they would like to see us work on, and spontaneous work choices. And they also just really, they know in the pandemic, we shortened our work cycle a little bit, and they just really want us to remember, to hold that as sacred, which we do for the work cycle, to not have any interruptions to that time or whole group lessons. So we have a few things we're going to talk about, with our staff, for next year. But again, just 2 recommendations, no required actions, and this many accommodations. Say enough about the staff, the community, everybody, the work that went in to make this possible. So.
Yeah, I'd like to take a minute just to thank you, recognize you, Kathy, the whole leadership team. First of all, for making this a priority and making it happen. It would have been real easy in this environment with everything going on in the last year or two to say, we don't have time for this. Be able to do them in a back-to-back fashion as well was extremely time consuming. So I really appreciate the focus that you've had, the drive you've put in to make these happen for us in the same school year, along with everything going on with us trying to get a building in place and work on bonds. And it's overwhelming. So I truly appreciate that. You and all of your leadership team and all the way through all of the staff. This was obviously an extremely team focused effort. So I appreciate you guys, but thank you for making this a reality for us.
And I appreciate that. And again, never could have been possible, like for all the work that we had to do with the documentation, which was a lot. There's a lot of work that goes into that. The reality, when they come to actually visit, if it had all been a ruse, because we all know we've been there where people make up stuff, on paper. If it had been a ruse, it would have been a disaster.
Yep.
But it just makes me feel so much pride in our teachers and our staff, our students, and our students. I mean, remember that they interviewed our students, a lot of our students, both accreditation teams, and they just couldn't say enough about how impressed they were. That to me, they were also the biggest ones that sold the program. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate that, Brett. I do want to call attention to Brett and the board members that we have a big date on May 20th. Kevin, you're sneaking when you're looking at the report. What is the date on May 20th?
I don't know.
I
have the numbers here.
Graduation.
Graduation. So I do want to just call that out. We're really, yeah, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. So I just want to call that out to you guys to remember to set that aside. And Brett, you and I will need to talk a little bit about you being able to say a few words. So I do want to just make sure, because
graduation.
I know.
Crazy.
Brett and I will both say a few words, but we will also have some speakers. So
Did you guys get a speaker lined up?
yes, we do. Don't ask me who. I can't remember right now, but you do. Yes, thank you. And isn't there another one that's going to do?
Isn't she?
I'm not exactly sure how she's.
Yeah.
What time is it at?
Yeah. I don't see anybody in
It's
the waiting
1
room.
to 4 in the afternoon.
Not here.
So then the next thing on the agenda is the building update. I just want to let you know that I know we all know this, but we did get our final approval through the city of Ocoee. So that was great news. And now we are, all the work that we're doing with the municipal bond offering is in full, yeah, the train is rolling down the track. So trying to keep track of all those things that are happening. We are anticipating that everything will be complete. And by June the 6th, June the 8th, the 2 dates that were put out today.
Is that our closing date?
Yeah, that's what their closing date, but we're pushing more.
Can't make that faster.
I know, that's what I said today, and Richard noted that was my look on my face.
Yeah.
I think Kareem is a little bit concerned about being able to get all the paperwork together, so, but I was going to actually reach out to him too and say, hey, I want to be able to.
I mean, I think that's really only like a couple of weeks past what we originally intended, but
Right.
you know, at this point, I think weeks are of you know, very big importance to us
Right.
that we start counting backwards from the start of school next year. So
No, I don't think we disagree. I mean, I think the one thing that we did get
every
clarity
day that
on-
goes by, interest rates seem to go up too. So, you know,
Yes. The one thing that we did get some clarity on too is that the timeline for Fuller's Cross, the soccer field may not be completed by August, but the drive line will be.
Okay.
So the drive line is going to be prioritized. So people will have that opportunity to use Fuller's Cross to enter onto the property now. And then
Exciting.
the basketball court hopefully will be finished in line with the soccer field, but I'm thinking that those may be closer to September before they're.
Do we know when the construction on Lakewood's gonna be done?
I was just gonna ask, do you know when
Yeah.
Lakewood opens back up?
I'm kind of perplexed by that because when I was in touch with the city, when they were sending me emails, I could have sworn they said spring break. And I communicated that. And
Sale.
yeah, and I reached
Sounds
out
like
a couple of times and he said he has no further information, that he's
Oh.
also.
Doesn't look like a lot's been
but-
happening
Yeah,
recently.
they
so
don't
have it, like,
That's
marked
not
out for
encouraging.
mine to go through
No,
yet, so.
no, yeah, no, I don't disagree,
Okay.
yeah. I tried to
Well,
find some time to-
Having Fuller's Cross would certainly be a alleviation of that challenge.
Yes.
But nonetheless, we still need it, even if that does open back up.
Right.
It's
No, it's a
pretty
good.
exciting.
And as we also have shared before,
I
I
think
have.
just
signed-
one quick
Yeah, go
question
ahead.
about Fuller's Cross. While I'm thinking, are they gonna, as a part of the drive line, are they gonna, I guess I'm assuming with the soccer brother, we're gonna clear that whole
Yes.
piece of property, right?
Because one of the biggest
Still waiting
pieces
on
I
demoing those
really
two.
emphasize is that it has to be leveled.
Yeah,
You know, we have to, along with the drainage area that has to be fixed on this
Yeah.
property.
okay.
Yeah.
But we're
One of
not doing,
them-
are we doing a pond still on that property,
Yes.
or we are gonna do part of a pond? Okay.
There's still some part of a pond, but not too big. Do want to let you know that I have registered for ggauctionsonline.com. They actually sell school buses. So OCPS uses them, and I've spoken to them and they suggest to actually get an OCPS bus. They say they are the better buses. So that is also something that we'll be looking into sometime in June. And I'm just going to convince Dave that we'll find the money. Or I'm going to convince Dave, and I know Dave's probably listening right now, that we'll find a really great, deal on the auction.
And this is for the purposes of transporting between the campuses,
Yes.
not other bus
Yes,
service.
yes,
Just for the
yes,
benefit
yes,
of all.
yes,
Okay.
thank you, thank you
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
clarifying. Exactly.
We were raising money through an auction service to
know.
pay for the bus.
I
So
know.
maybe we need to auction for it, not
Dave
to
gave
pay
you
for said
Yeah.
bus.
I know.
Dave gave you a thumbs up.
Dave, you're welcome, Dave.
So then the
Is that
next
fundraising
on the
committee
agenda are the votes.
Mhm.
So we are very excited to announce that we are joining the Florida High School Athletic Association for both IMO and IMHS, which is it's another advantage to our accreditation because we couldn't join until we were affiliated with some accreditation authority. So we now get to join as the middle school and the high school develop athletic programs and teams. We will have this behind us as well. So, but we do have to vote on that. So that's something that has to be a board vote and noted in the minutes. And I don't know if you want to take these one by one, Kristen, or do you want me just to run through all of them?
Why don't we go one by one?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one is to vote on us joining FHSAA.
Do you know if by joining that prevents us from participating in local zone schools if we do not offer that sport?
Say that one more time.
So we don't have a volleyball team. Can a student go play volleyball at West Orange if that's their zone school if we join us?
I have never heard anything. I've never seen anything in writing that says that, you know, that we wouldn't be able, that they still couldn't do that. Yeah. I do know that one of the requirements that we have to have is we have to have so many girls teams in proportion to a boys team. And I do know that Naya and Brandon have been working on signups. Some of you may have gotten emails about signups, and your own students are signing up for sports. And so right now we will have a beach volleyball team because that's something that we don't have to have a gym for. And we got a very large group of people who love to play volleyball. So we're going to do a beach volleyball. We're going to do soccer for sure. So I'm going to do basketball. And I can't remember some of the other, I think some of the other sports are individual sports that they were looking at as well. So yeah, yes, cross country is the next one. It's easy to, yeah.
So I think the challenge or the nuance becomes if we offer basketball, then you can't go to
That
West
was-
Orange
yeah,
and
my
play
next
basketball.
question.
You have to play here because we offer the sport. If we don't offer the sport, I believe you should still have that option. I don't think that goes with.
Do you know that to be?
I don't know if that, I wouldn't say I know that 100% to be the fact, but that's
haven't
been
read
the
that
scenario
anywhere.
that.
Cindy's shaking her head at the audience, so as a staff member, Cindy, I'll call on you, so you know that for sure.
And there's actually a form I have to fill out
Okay,
for them to be able to participate in the other. And it's one of those that we don't offer it
gotcha.
at our
Yeah.
school.
Okay. It does allow our students to apply for scholarships.
And they can win like state championships.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Next
wrestling was the other one. Wrestling was. the
What's
other
that?
Next year.
yeah. All right, so look, we got a topic on the floor here. If I can get a motion to approve the joining of IMO and IMHS to the Florida High School Athletic Association. Certainly entertain that.
Is it, what is the organization that's joining? Is it, what are we calling it? IMO
Both
and-
IMO and
and
IMHS,
IMHS.
this
Two
would be
separate-
for
yeah, two
middle
separate
school and
applications.
high school sports.
Okay.
If somebody wants to make a motion for that.
I'll make a motion for IMO and IMHS to join the FHSAA.
All right. We have a second for that.
Second.
Kevin, second. Any questions, comments on that? All right, we'll bring it up for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously.
Noted.
So I'm going to skip the manual for now because Kevin is going to share some ideas around it, right? And but I do want to talk about the safety plan. This is that I sent you. The safety plan was developed in concert with our law firm to address all the many things that are encompassed in the legislation now. We had to send it into OCPS because it's something that the state is requiring of charter schools, and we just have to vote on it. So I don't know if you have any questions, if you, it was attached in the last, in that email I sent you. I don't know if you have any questions about the state.
Is there anything changed? A lot of these documents look like things I've seen through the years in various aspects. This really just kind of combines a lot of what we already had into one package, basically.
Yeah, I
right? Am
would say
thinking
the
about that right?
one thing that's most new, so if I know, I don't mind going through it real quick. So this is one, it talks about the school safety specialist. It talks about that somebody that that the principal assigns who's going to be your school safety specialist. It has the active assailant response plan, it has the safe school plan, it has the threat assessment. One of the ones is new is the parent notification and access to information. And that is something specific this year that they wanted to make sure that the language in there was around how we notify parents when there is an incident on campus. So that's one of the things that was new. And it could be a fire, it could be a bomb threat, it could be, you know, they list through a lot of different things that
Yeah,
it
I
could
saw
be.
that one.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of, I mean, it doesn't really change much about how we do things. It's just
No.
now it's documented and
Right.
detailed out, right?
Right. You know, it's where we talk about how they're picking up their child, contacting a child, unification in case there is a reason that we have to vacate the properties. Assessor is been around, involvement in law enforcement, safe school officer, Fortify Florida, mobile panic alert system. That's the one that's new this year that we had to. We've had quite a few problems with the organization that same one that OCPS is using, Motorola Safer Watch. Leanna has done a great job, Mubarak has done a great job of trying to work through some of the glitches they've had. So much so that she got the attention of the district as well, that the president of the company personally called her to apologize for all the problems she had. So that is something that's new. That is the piece that everybody at school has to have a mobile alert system on their computer or phone that somehow is faster than calling 911. I'm not quite sure how, but that's what we have to do. And then we have FSSAT, which has been around for a while. That's our safety plan that we put in, emergency drills. So most everything else is just all the things that we've had. And he just attached them and put them all together. The two ones were the mobile alert and the parent notification.
So I have a couple questions. One, is this a public document? Will this be posted like on our website with like policies and?
No.
This
And
is
the
not?
reason why it's not posted is because of the things that it says about like what we do in case of emergency.
Okay, well, does this get shared with parents or families in any way?
No, for that same reason.
It does, just so the parent notification part, it talks about notifying in a timely manner, but there's nothing beyond that.
That's right. 'cause
Do we have a
there's no lawyer that
definition of-
devised that. Because, and no, but that is where, you know, again. the
Assuming this
response-
is something our law firms reviewed.
Right, there, well, they were very much a part of putting this together
Yeah.
for us.
And so I guess my last question is, or so I guess there's no definition to timely,
No,
right? That's up.
it
For
would be,
us
come
to
on, lawyer,
interpret.
tell me, what would you be a definition of timely?
Yeah, it's gotta be reasonable. I think it depends on
Due
circumstances too.
diligence.
Right.
There are some kinds of things where any timely notification would be immediate. And others, depending on the circumstance, where you may be working with law enforcement and have reasons not to make timely.
Right,
It'd still be timely, but.
Right.
not make it
immediate, sure. Okay. And then do we have, like, what's gonna be our primary mechanism for that?
It would be the parent square or phone calls, depending on, you know, if it's a few students that are involved, it would be direct phone calls to
Yeah.
those families.
We don't have ability to mass phone call like we used to.
Not right now. Well, no, I take that back. We do have the text message
Yeah.
service of Parent Square.
Okay.
But not voice.
But I think between Parent Square and texting, that
Yeah, I
should
find
be a pretty
that
wide distribution.
robocalls got to the point where people aren't listening to them.
Nobody enters their phone anymore. If anybody calls, you're like, oh, why is
Yeah.
somebody calling me?
Yeah, no,
I
no.
know my car warranty is expiring.
Okay.
Oh, Press one now.
Right.
Okay, anybody else have questions?
This gets sent to Orange County CBS. Do they comment on it or we just file it with them and that's it?
My understanding is they're gonna comment, at the end of May, that they're gonna develop a rubric that makes sure that we've covered everything. I will tell you, they're using ours as a model. They asked if they could send ours out. I said, well, yeah, after I respect it.
They give us credit.
Yeah, I know.
Get royalties every time another school uses
So we're,
it.
we're approving this, it'll be with them and if
Right.
they require changes, which we don't expect, but they can revisit.
Right,
Does it require board approval? They
yes,
said they have asked for a board
yes,
vote on this?
yes. Yeah. Hold on.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the IMO, IMHS safety plan as written and presented.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the safety plan,
Safety policy,
safety policy.
only because.
Is it-
Well, it says
Plan or
safe school
policy?
plan is what
I
it's
know,
called.
I know. It's like that itself. I
Okay.
spent too much money with the lawyer.
Okay. We have a second?
Yeah, second.
AJ seconds. Any comments, questions? Discussion? Nope.
Who's second?
AJ?
I was looking down.
Yep. All right. So motion, second, all in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
What's next?
Next
Discipline?
thing is wanting to pass the Innovation Montessori Discipline Policy. This is another one that Lachey Copeland spent a lot of time working through and developing. We've also run it through the Arnold Law Firm for there, and we've sent it to OCPS, but it would still be something that needs to be approved by our board as well. And if you go through it, what you'll see, it's not so much changed anything of our practice, but what it's done, it's just really confirmed what we do. And so you'll see that in serious situations, we're still going to rely on OCPS. They've been extremely helpful when we've had serious situations occur. And so we will continue to rely on their expertise in those areas. While at the same time, really wanting to solidify restorative practice and how we are using it in our school.
Will this be a public document, something we share?
Yes,
Will this be something that goes out to like all families, or is this something we post online? Like, how do we share
usually it's
this?
something that I would say something that, hey, we've updated our, our policy. You'll find it here on this link and they'll be able to look at it on the website.
And this is something we've had, just not in official policy form in the past.
Right, because what we've done in the past is, there's always language in whether or not it's the discipline code or the student code of conduct, or even with truancy and attendance, there's always a lot of vague language with the discretion of the principal. And so what we've just tried to do is, since we really are restorative justice and practice school, we're just trying to really speak to what we are actually doing. And there's still a lot of nuances. We don't always know. We didn't want to get too prescriptive about if a student hits another student, then this is what happens. Because, a student hits another student can mean a lot of different things, depending on age levels. So we just wanted to try to stay away from too prescriptive, while providing enough language that helps us understand, what the steps are that we take.
Questions? Or we entertain a motion on this one as well?
This applies to the high school and Innovation Montessori.
Yes.
It's not applied to CASA.
No,
OCPS is not gonna assist us.
right, yeah, because we have a separate, this one.
Is there anything,
Yeah, we have a.
I know you said it's more formalized. Is there anything in particular in the handbook that you've really formalized, or like it's, different than what you're doing in the past, or is it very similar in that sense?
It's very similar to what we've done, except for what we've done before, like we've had in our parent student handbook. Generally, what you will find is that we'll put in the OCPS student code of conduct, And that's where we would put that document, but we don't always follow that document because we use the discretion of the principal sometimes. So this is a document that would replace the OCPS code of conduct as carte blanche, while at the same time, this document notes when we will access OCPS code of conduct for level 4s mostly, but also it could be a level 3.
All right, I will entertain a motion on this one as well.
I'll motion for it.
Motion that we approve the Innovation Montessori Discipline Policy as presented.
Yes.
And IMHS, IMO&A.
IMO and
I think this
IMHS,
is,
yeah.
does this distinguish between the two, or is this one policy that covers, this is not two
I think we
policies, right?
just called it Innovation Montessori,
Called it
but most
Innovation
likely it will
Montessori.
sit in in OCPS as Innovation Montessori Ocoee and Innovation Montessori.
Yeah.
High
Probably
School.
best to
In
put them
the
both.
preamble, it actually mentions both schools.
Disciplinary policy.
Very detailed.
A lot of work.
Very
Which they
detailed.
did a great job.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yes.
I didn't-
Okay, Brett, you were motioning?
Yeah, I mean, Philip made the motion. I was just clarifying his
Oh, you were
motion for him.
clarifying, okay.
Yeah,
I'll second.
Stacy seconds. Any questions, comments? All right, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried.
So then, the discussion of the manual for IM. I know that was 120 pages. So what the attempt of this manual is for, and I'm not calling it a policy manual, I assume there are policies embedded in it. So one of the things that I noted, early on in the accreditation process is that, we do house a lot of different documents in a lot of different places. So I'm not saying that this is the best way to put all this together, but it was the attempt to kind of put all those things together in one document. And so Kevin and I were talking about I think you came up with 3 different ways that we can look at this.
Well, I think there's a lot of different things here. And some of these items apply to all 3 schools and some of them don't apply to all 3 schools. And the way the schools are referenced internally, and Patrice pointed that out the day she emailed it to us all, was that we might want to take a look at and be careful about how we're referencing different schools. I think you mentioned that CASA has its IRS status as a flow through from the Innovation Montessori, but it doesn't have the same characteristics as a public school. VPK comes with its own special things, so some of this stuff applies because it's VPK. Some of it doesn't apply to the kids that aren't VPK, and some of it doesn't apply at all because it's a private school, despite the fact that it's wholly owned by a public school corporation. So because of all of that, I think the vast majority of this content is really, really good. Some of it already existed. That employee manual looks pretty familiar.
Yep.
But when we were talking about it, we thought maybe it would be worthwhile to walk through it and do some cleanup, just to identify, not really to change the content around, but just identify which aspects of this big binder are going to apply to which parts of our school.
Yep.
So, and it's not.
A
as-
way
it's not
overdue
as
effort too. It's
pressing
been-
For to approve it, that's why I pulled out these 2 other policies that we
Yeah.
do need to approve. But it's something as an ongoing project.
I mean, this is for us internally, right? And
Right.
This is for us. This isn't someone goes to the district or some other organization. This is
As employment
us.
information.
Right.
To your point, this is a conglomeration of a lot of policies that already existed in a big binder, and probably a lot of this work that needed to happen for years now to
Right.
update, review, and revise some of this. I assume this can be considered a living artifact as well.
And I think
Right.
I call that out, in the document itself, is that it's not expected to be static. It's expected to, change and be, managed in that way, so.
Would this become a public document as well, something that we share with the community, or is this, I know we have a lot of these policies already posted on the website in different ways like that, but
Everything in here is likely to be a public record.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, do we
Right.
make
I think
this
that
like
the
readily
majority of the
available?
Things in here, I mean, some of it is stuff that the parents are gonna sign when they enroll their
Right.
kids. I think the employee handbook is, I mean, I think parents are welcome to look at it, but it's really not, they're not the intended
not
audience for
necessary.
obvious reasons. But getting it all in one place does make a lot of sense to me. But. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
my
what-
opinion would be the more we can get centralized and have access to in a, you know, a single source so that you're not having to go update 10 things would be
Right.
ideal. But if there are, my question was, are there things in here that we would not? The employee piece obviously makes a lot of sense, but to your point, Kevin, I don't know if there's nothing that we would be afraid to share there.
No, I just,
Right.
parents don't probably care that much, you know, what percentage of salary you take for sick leave. in this
Right.
case, But, so I think my suggestion is, you know, we've adopted all this material stuff in other ways. This is gonna be a way to bring it together and a way to make sure that it is applying as broadly as it's supposed to be. But that perhaps we take another month and do some of that, this cleanup work. I wasn't sure that Chris and I were on the same page, so we did have a chance to
Yeah,
talk about it,
no.
but I think we are.
Yeah.
So
I agree. No, I think it'd be a great idea.
there's nothing here that we haven't already adopted.
I think it's some of our newest principals.
You're like very excited.
Gross to really get to know the
Here you go.
Yeah.
There's nothing that approving this, like not approving this prevents us
No,
from
no,
enacting
and
any of
that's
this.
why,
This
you
is
know,
all-
but I did want you all to have it in place because as I shared with you, as I was going through the accreditation, they just kept asking, well, where's your manual? Where's your manual? And I'm like, oh, my manual's here, my manual's here, my manual's here. So, and I already shared that with you guys before. So this was my way of kind of pulling it all together and definitely, I think it's a good idea, maybe 2 months. It's some my assistant principals are really busy in the next couple of months.
I think we keep the foot on the gas with your assistant principal.
Let me double pay.
So would this be then added to kind of like our annual update sort of thing where we just review it on a yearly basis and school reviews it on a
Right,
yearly basis?
right.
So it would hold for the year and then you would make any changes to it before the start of the next school year, right?
Yeah,
Like
and then
that-
and
that would be
periodically
the
if
staff
something,
part of it,
right, and
And
then
the living
periodically if something had to be changed or updated, we would make that.
Well, there's that.
It's an impressive 200 pages of documentation that you sent us for this one. And overall, I mean, it's really, how many years have we talked about? We need to do this. And it was really cool to scroll through so much of it and be like, seen this before. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with this. Oh, it's nicely written down. So
Yeah.
huge congratulations to you and the team.
I know,
Even
and
if there's
that's
still
that
some
behind
additional
the
takeaways.
scenes, you know, housekeeping work that
Right.
doesn't get, you know, big kudos, but
Right.
that is important to keep our ducks in a row and, you know, so it's great.
Felt a lot like we've really grown up as an organization to
I
actually
know.
be at the stage where we've been
Mhm.
doing it for enough years now. It's come together. Yeah.
So again, I don't think we need to vote on anything with this, it's just like, you know. And then the last vote is the recommendation for PTO secretary. So we have, Marnie had requested that the board consider Megan Meyer for PTO secretary.
So we typically vote on a whole slate of board members for the PTO, I'm assuming,
Everyone
This is-
else is staying in place? Yes.
but should we just vote to approve that
We approve everyone.
We
whole
approve
roster
everyone.
of folks
Is
again?
Marnie online right now?
I do believe she's PTOLs, she might be PTOLs.
I am. Hi.
Hey,
Marnie. Let me go in the other room because the boys are
Okay.
lots of noise.
okay. So I think, Marnie, our question was just, typically we would vote to approve the full board of, all of the board members for the PTO. Is there any reason why we shouldn't do that at this point, instead of just approving the secretary, just approve the whole slate of candidates again, like we've done in the past?
Yeah, you can go ahead and prove everybody. Yeah, everyone's worked well together, so.
Somebody want to make a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion to retain the current officers, except for appointing Megan Mar as secretary of the
I
UP.
don't know how to spell her last name.
MAHER.
M-A-H-E-R.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the PTO board. Any questions, comments? Good. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Great, thank you guys.
Thanks, Marty.
The only other thing that I have to just talk about is that, you know, we're in the middle of, with everything else, we're definitely in the middle of also thinking about planning for 2022, 2023 school year. So that's busy and going on. And we, as the board knows, we are in the middle of hiring our IMHS principal. So we've brought in 3 candidates. We've seen one on Monday, one on Tuesday, and one we'll see tomorrow. We also had another candidate that joined us. She is somebody who was a part of the Montessori, the teachers that are in the Center for Guided Montessori Studies training. She was their observer for the adolescent training that they're in. And she was here for 5 days. Same time we were doing the accreditation piece. And we just heard great things about the accreditation team about her. And the teachers were just really impressed with the way she connected with them and the help she provided. She has been at a Montessori high school for many, many years, public Montessori high school. So she's also a candidate. And the other 3 candidates we have very impressive resumes as well. And so that process is going really well. We'll have another candidate tomorrow. And then the 4th candidate that joined a little bit later will be doing virtual because she was here in person recently and had contact with everybody. So we feel like we're confident that we can interview her online. So we're excited and looking forward to making that announcement really soon.
I just had a question. How do you want our feedback? Do you have any?
Definitely need to
preference?
figure that out. Maybe we can
Okay.
talk about this after the meeting, what
Okay.
you guys feel is best way to do that, because I know your time is hard to get you all together, so, yeah. Okay, that's it for me.
Okay. Who's next? And did we have anything on the Cognia or the IMC else that you wanted to share? Or did you cover that
Yeah,
already,
I think
right?
I covered it,
Okay,
because
I
I
just
had
had
already
that.
covered Cognia
We
before,
already
so it's
touched
really
that.
just covering IMC.
Okay, perfect. We already did that. So, okay, so then over to you, Philip, for finance.
Well, I guess we're already there. All right, my updates from Dave this month is that, as I always like to say, is there any surprises for the month? I'm told there's no surprises. We did operate better than forecast as a result of do you remember how many months I told you next month, the teacher salary increase adjustment's coming? And apparently it finally actually came. So teacher salary increase adjustment. So we are caught up through February now from OCPS. So that gave us a better than forecast for the month. Overall, that's the big part. I unfortunately did not dive quite as deep in the financials as I usually do to prepare this one, but I was like, oh, it's good to have the teacher salary increase allocation come in. Also, lots of, on the finance side, lots of bond stuff. We met with the Moody's investor analyst, which I will admit, as a longtime financial junkie myself, it was kind of cool to actually meet someone from the organization. He came and toured the campus with our, I think one of the
Right.
guys from our underwriting bank, and they gave a quick tour actually just after our board tour that we've done. So he has seen the campus, and we will be meeting with him for an interesting process that they go through. Basically, he puts a package together, which he then presents to a division or a panel inside of his organization, which then actually grants the rating. So that is one of the more involved pieces. The bond team that we're working with, honestly, I'm quite impressed with them. They're all on top of their game. They're managing their deadlines well. They're staying on top of things. And again, kudos to Patrice and team for providing many of the, amongst all of the accreditation stuff you're doing there. I mean, fortunately, they're asking for a lot of the same stuff, but so it's helpful that everyone's after the same documents, but a lot of that's coming together as well. So that is where the finance focus has gone in. I should have an update on budget, but actually our budget has been a bit disrupted / adjusted into, right? It's part of these bond processes. So we haven't necessarily done as central to just the schools what we normally would have. And I know I'm still due to connect with Dave on that. I had a question for you, Patrice. Do we want to have, or maybe it's going to go to the broader board as a whole, do we want our normal kind of strategy session that we do in April where we would kind of run through that?
Probably need to at least, maybe can hold off until like early May, but when I know then there's month end. It is only April, what? April.
Well,
We have to vote
Oh,
to
12,
approve,
okay.
right?
So we need
So
to
maybe-
vote to approve by
maybe-
end of June.
Maybe at the end, maybe another week. Another week.
Do we want to schedule something for late April or?
I was thinking we could do it, I was thinking May, but
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
May,
Well,
that
the
gives us
thing is-
about a month and a
Right.
half before then we have to have it
And
finalized.
the one of the things that I will say is one of the things the bond process has forced us to do is examine things for next year based on where we feel like we're at
Yeah.
financially. So, and we're also waiting
Yeah.
for the covenants, to be, that we're firm on the covenants and we're firm on.
So we will,
document, the offering document.
we'll have this bond offering closed before the budget needs to be submitted. 'Cause I think
Yeah, about a month.
small things could change with the bond financing that could impact the budget
Yeah.
plan for next year, just revenues and or the different covenants. So as long as we have enough time to incorporate any of that, and put it in front of the board in June for approval, I think is. So we did, in my mind, if we met in May to do that kind of deeper dive walkthrough, I think that's
Okay.
reasonable.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I guess if any of you have any concerns or particular interest in being a little deeper in the budget, connect with us. We can pull you in finance.
I mean, look, I
meetings or
think at this
separate
point
meetings.
where we've evolved to as an organization is, this isn't a working session for us to go build a budget,
Right.
right? And whereas years ago, that's what we did. I'd look for you guys, you and Dave, to take us on a walkthrough to the right level of detail that you guys think is needed for us to get comfortable with what's there. We can ask questions. I know in the past, there's been things with, hey, what if we thought about this, that you guys can, contemplate and incorporate if you want, but I don't see this as a working session to go build the budget. This is a readout to you guys on here's what we're going to do, and then we can then bring that back to the board in June for approval.
Okay.
So I don't think it has to be a 3-hour marathon, 4-hour marathon like we did years
You
ago.
don't want to
so.
spend a 15-minute conversation on how much our mulch we need to buy?
No, not really. And I think, honestly, we've gotten to a lot of the big ticket items. Some of the things we dug into the past was retirement plans and,
Right.
those things, like how do we provide for some of those things? So
Well, and the reality is that, the interest
Maturity.
rates and everything is going on with the bond, the capitalized interest, and how we're working that out. I think I do feel good about our financial advisor walking us through this because he seems to be really seeing him calling some of the contracts, and making comments on that. And I was impressed with that. So I feel like we're gonna know a lot more in May as well.
Yeah,
Where we're gonna be.
yeah, I would agree. And I would also very much agree with you, Brett, where there's actually more hands in the budget now than there was years ago where we do our working sessions with the board because of the partnership that happen inside the organization, right? And the various people that are involved.
So do a walkthrough with us, kind of just highlight the key items, any key changes from last year to this year, new things that you want to make us aware of. But I think just that kind of, we can do that in an hour of a walk down.
We
and
could
let us-
plan on incorporating it into May's probably a little bit early, but worse, we could do it in our June board meeting if we leave it on the standing time.
Well, if you guys have, I mean, if we could do it.
Don't
in
we
May.
have to vote then at the June board meeting?
For the, as far as for the walkthrough, we would be able to do, we could do the walkthrough and the vote.
We could do the walk,
like,
I say we do the
together.
walkthrough in May.
Do the walkthrough, plan on walkthrough in May, and then we do the vote
Is
in
there a reason
June.
we
So
couldn't
if
do it
there's
at the
any
May board meeting or?
follow-up.
I think we need to get to the, we need to
We
close
won't-
on the bond financing
Yeah.
in June
Okay.
before we lock the budget.
Yeah, we do the walkthrough in May, that'll put us in a good position then to be able to have, like I said, covers anything that's changed, any adjustments, anything that's maybe policy, but we need to, yeah, get through the bond closing to have some of those final numbers,
Mhm.
just have everything locked in. So we would still approve in June.
Okay.
Right. Includes the finance section.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Marnie, back over to you for PTO.
Hi. Okay, so we have lots of things going on. Tomorrow we're collecting for Matthew's Hope. And there will be donation boxes in front of the CASA building and in front of the main office. And students are welcome to wear their spirit shirts if they brought in a donation. Then we have the Earth Day plant sale coming up, which is April 22nd. The cutoff date to buy the plants is April 19th. And the middle school service learning, gardening service learning group are the ones that have been growing the plants. So whatever proceeds we make, we're planning on splitting it with them. And then some of it going towards teacher appreciation also. And then we have game time, April 27th from 5 to 8 p.m. We are also helping out with the high school prom, April 29th. And we're still looking for volunteers to help with setup and tear down. We did receive quite a bit of donations to cover all of the food costs. And if Allison's still on here, I'm going to try to get with you to figure out how we can get everything ordered for that. And then we also have Teacher Appreciation Week, May 2nd through 6th. I just put out the flyer tonight. We're going to do a save the date for Sunday, May 1st. Not sure what time yet because we're going to look at the weather, but we're going to do chalk the walk. So everybody will come out with some chalk and write all over the sidewalks, thanking all the teachers. So that way, when they show up on Monday, they can see all of that. And also on Monday, the students are going to bring cards or notes for their teachers. On Tuesday, we're going to do a lemonade stand in each of the teachers' lounges with also infused water. And all the teachers are going to receive a reusable cup also that they can use throughout the day. Then the 4th, we're doing artwork. And all of those gifts will be presented to the teachers that day, including the teaching assistants. And volunteers are coming in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to work on that with the kids. So that's all set up. Then on Thursday, bring a plant or a flower for the teacher. And then on Friday, we're going to have the same food truck we had last year because it seemed like a big success. And they will be here from 11 to 1. And we're also still looking for a treasurer. Anybody would like to be a treasurer? The PTO is in desperate need of one because I'm not a finance person. So her last day, she told us it's the last day of school. So if anybody knows anyone, send them my way, please. And I think that's it for the PTO.
All out on Parent Square.
Yeah, I put one out and I didn't get anything for that position. So I'll post again, but.
Okay, thank
Thank you,
you.
Marnie.
Thank you.
Marnie.
You're welcome.
You might want to think about if there's anything the board wants to do for Teacher Appreciation Week. Sometimes we do.
Yeah, I'd asked Marnie about where some opportunities were for us to help out there.
Are we doing we're doing a breakfast? We do a breakfast for them?
And we've done
Are
that
you doing
before,
breakfast
or
I probably will do something.
okay.
Just, yeah, right now, you just pick what you want and I'll pick in one the other.
So why don't we can collaborate on that and see if we can't get something and we'll
Okay.
coordinate with Marty. It would be great to be able to actually be here, see people again.
Yeah,
It'd be nice.
yeah, do some kind of presence thing here where we're actually here. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the
Excited.
breakfast with the multi-purpose room being used by the high schoolers. That's why we didn't put it on our list of things. So if we can figure out how to coordinate that, that would be great.
Yeah, we did it for them outside, but that was during pre-plan.
Oh,
The
yeah,
students weren't
yeah.
quite on campus
Right.
yet, so that worked, but
We can do it, we can do it multiple.
yeah.
Yeah,
You think that'll work?
yeah,
Even with people in there?
yeah.
Okay.
No, but I mean, there's, because they're not gonna be in, it's not gonna be in there that long.
Right,
Yeah.
we would be
Yeah.
before. school.
We'll get in and out.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So let's plan to do that. We can
Send it
coordinate a
plan.
day and we can put the bill for that one.
Mhm. Good. Okay. All right, so then thank you, Marnie, again. Committees, general, other updates from any board members?
No, I think the only thing I was, I mentioned the work on the accreditations, which I think has just been phenomenal, but all the work, I think Patrice, that you're doing on the bond and the building is just still continues to be very impressive from where I sit, because it's gotten way overwhelming for me. My ability to keep plugged into this is like, it's gone over my head at this point. So I appreciate you having hands on the wheel with this with Dave and Philip. Your focus on this has been Kevin, all of you guys. So thank you, because it's gotten to a level of effort that's just, it's consuming a lot of people. So I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to getting that closed, getting this real estate transaction closed, and be able to start moving some dirt and some hammers and starting to get some work
Do we
done.
need to call out just the obligated group that was one of the decisions that we, did make for the bonds, that maybe that's something that, just for the board to know,
Yeah,
is
we
that
can-
one of the things that was interesting is that we realized that we needed to call out the obligated group of who is really going to be obligated and how we tied in all three organizations.
Yeah, did we talk about that? We haven't talked about it in a board meeting. have
No,
we?
just on the finance committee, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so and Kevin, you can correct me if I get any of this wrong. It's been interesting being on these calls and having them being like, where's the lease for this? And where's the connection between that? And what's the responsibility for this organization to pay that organization? And, Patrice and Dave and I are kind of like, oh yeah, like we're all one family, but I guess there should be legal documents. So the structure that they recommended and that we've gone with is all three organizations have an obligation to the bond. So the alternative approach was to have the organizations, so IMO would have the full obligation to the bond, and the other organizations would have a rental responsibility to IMO. Some of the complications with that is then that lease document becomes locked in and it becomes connected to the bond, which makes it very complicated to change over the life of the bond, which is 35 years. It also would mean that if the high school had more or less dollars, things like where last year CASA had less students, and we went ahead and shuffled things, and as a organization we were whole, but CASA had less money, it would have made it more complicated for us to have not had CASA pay IMO at its normal rate, like what we had in budget. So by putting them as all three of them are obligated on the bond, it makes it harder for us to split the organization or to discontinue one of those organizations. But in our conversations, we're like, well, we've done a lot of work to get all three of them. I don't see us having much interest in letting any of them go anytime soon. So that is how we've structured it from that side.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good to know. It's just another layer of commitment
Right,
to
just another
all
layer
of our
of commitment,
schools.
right.
So that's,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
What did we call that whole thing where we had to make all three groups accountable?
The obligated group.
And I thought there was, sorry,
Consolidated, or, oh, that is another
The-
piece that came out as a result of it. We're now required to have an additional layer of audit, which honestly shouldn't be too bad since we're already auditing all of the individual entities. We'll now have audited financials of consolidated
Yeah.
bundle, if I'm following that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the upside is that it looks like they're gonna aggregate the coverage ratios and those kinds of things. But that's one group is short and the other one is good. We don't have to go
Right,
deal with.
So we'll be able to
right.
operate very much the way we do now.
It's the master trust
Of the
indenture.
master trust indenture, that's the.
Yeah. Can we share that? Because then
So the
I
master
forget what
trust
that means a
indenture
little bit,
is
but
the agreement between us and the trustee who acts on behalf of the bondholders. And then there's a supplemental trust indenture, which has the terms of the specific issue that we're doing. We're only doing one. So right now, there's only one supplemental. But if you did another bond issue later, there'd be another supplementary under the same master. And that's the document that describes what our, what rules we have to follow during the
Yeah.
life of these funds.
but we agreed, we entered those as a combined obligated
As an
party, right?
Right.
Is that where,
Right.
so that's that obligated group, and now we've entered into this master trust indenture with the bondholder that's, articulates the rules for the, what do you call it, the policies for how we govern this thing.
Right.
Okay. Teresa, I got an invite for the FDFC board meeting. Is that something
Right.
I need to attend?
Yes, so. That, and I don't know what that meeting is gonna look like, if it's going to look, like,
Is this where they approve
right,
us?
right.
Do we present
But
something
I don't
there?
know if we're even presenting
I don't
at it. I
think
got
we
the
are
impression
presenting.
that it's gonna be kind of like, I don't know if you know about that.
What
do
is
you?
FDFC?
You know anything about the
FDFC, Kevin, you can explain
What are they?
FDFC.
Well, we
Yeah.
have to meet with them and there's an invite.
They're the ones
from-
that are
we're
gonna issue the
gonna
bonds
do
on our
some
behalf.
presentation with
Florida
them, but
Development
I'm thinking it's
Financial
probably,
Corporation.
it's kind of like the,
Municipal bonds.
the webinar that we had where it's just announced to the public and.
Yeah, so they have to approve the issue, right? They're your issuer, so they have to look at us and decide that we're the kind of thing that they want to issue for. And I think we wouldn't have gotten this far down the road if we weren't.
Right.
It's a formal process.
Because somebody from the FDFC has also been on this bond working group call
Yeah.
sometimes. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've already submitted 2 packages to them, right?
Right.
2 preliminary packages, I believe.
Yeah.
The final due shortly.
I know we're having Philip and Dave and I are going to have a meeting for prior to Moody's, but the FDFC, I get the impression that it's just kind of like a walk in the park with what it's for, and we're not really saying much. Because
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, because
think so
they're
either.
pretty good at giving me the preliminary stuff and saying, hey, we need, or a preview and say, hey, we need to meet ahead of this. I know we have the marketing piece that we have to do, so then we have to market out bonds. So Kathy and I are doing a song and dance for that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's separate from Moody's. So
Okay.
there's the Moody's thing. and then
That's with
there's
the actual
marketing,
invest, the
yeah.
marketing's with the investors though.
Yeah,
That's with the actual investors.
the marketing.
The marketing
yes.
potential.
So that's,
potential
that's the one that they talked about in the very beginning, where that will be an opportunity to really sell the school, like the soft and, there'll be people to talk about the financials, but also they'll want to hear, those pieces. When they've done a pretty good job with the rating presentation of kind of consolidating all those extras that we have. We have some parent comments, in the presentation. So we've been working through that. Well,
This is where Kathy shines,
yeah.
like her tours.
Yeah. Yes, Miss Tobin.
All right, anything else?
Have a separate from the building. Have some good news. Our bricks are here somewhere on campus. After this meeting, I'm going to go find out where they're at
Cool.
to scope them out. They were delivered. So excited to get that done. For anyone obviously attending the meeting right now, if you know someone who would be interested in assisting who has experience laying pavers, I'd be happy to connect with them and I will work with them when they do it. So I just need someone who has experience with that. But most likely if I don't get from this, maybe I'll do
Well,
it.
that's, we can't remember who it
It's-
is. I
We
don't
do a
know.
parent square blast.
Passos.
or-
Is it Passos?
That's the guy that I worked with
Okay.
before.
Okay.
I just can't remember his first name.
Oh, okay, well, we can find that.
So we gotta find
Yeah.
Passos.
Okay, we can find.
I have to go-
I
I
know
could
the
search
child,
Which
but,
board
you
email
know,
did you have?
I can
to
speak
just
to the
search.
mom, but.
So excited to get that done. I think the timing's good because obviously with everything going on in the building and getting now into the next school year, I'd like to see how we can now kind of take the next steps from a fundraising standpoint, what we'd like to look at. I don't know if that would be a June item, a July item. I'll kind of defer for your all's guidance on here, but my initial thought process is to really engage with the board, the leadership, the faculty, the PTO in a meaningful way to find out what we want to put our efforts towards from a fundraising
Right.
standpoint. Now that we have so many great things in motion, we can kind of look at what's left over that we want to put our efforts into. So what do you all think would be timing wise with everything going on in the building in high school? When would
Well,
That'd be best.
June, I mean, at the June meeting, I mean, there's gonna be a lot going on, but it'd probably be a good starter to start having that conversation.
Are we doing a strategy session in July?
I was
Yeah.
wondering,
I know we kind of took a year off, and didn't do any formalized, meeting like that this past summer.
Mhm.
So,
It didn't?
Didn't we?
We
I think it was, we
Did
got
we?
together and
Yeah,
then
we
the
did.
next.
We ate a big
Oh,
dinner
yeah, we
here.
did.
we had
yeah.
the barbecue.
Oh, that was the
Yeah.
one moment before the
And then the
blip.
next
Sorry,
wave
I
came
know,
and
never mind.
it all
Yeah.
canceled
So,
again.
Yes, we did get a little bit of something.
It
in
was
there.
our only in-person meeting.
So
That was
maybe-
the only one.
maybe July.
Yeah, that's right.
I would think it would fit well in that strategy
Okay.
session.
I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I would like to, as where I'll lean on Stacy and Brett, Patrice, and anyone else, of course, just to really see how we can engage all parties in that. And so it's worth their while, and then we can lay out the roadmap and I can get to work. I just need a little direction. It's my first time
Okay.
heading fundraising for a
Okay.
school, so
Okay.
just give me the direction and the work and I'll carve out the time. So,
Great.
On the guy's email.
sweet.
Oh, good. Send me something here.
I'll email.
Usually when I search from my phone, it doesn't give me the same results as when I search through.
Can I forward you an email?
Yeah,
from-
and that's coming out of the June budget approval, right? So we'll know what the budget is for next year, and so. But we should
That'd
be
be good.
thinking about this as the budget is being considered, right? If there's
And you
anything
did,
here.
sorry, you did mention that, so the bricks have been delivered.
Yeah, they're here on campus. I'm gonna go find them.
Right, well, they're by the NPR.
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Perfect. Yep, they're here. So
Cool. Go check them
So
out.
anything we want to do from a year-end wrap-up, forum, special meeting, bringing anybody on campus? Do we feel that we want to do anything bigger? We have taken this step with having this meeting in this way, which is great. So we can just do another regular board meeting in May, but
It's fine with me.
is that okay?
Yeah.
Keep this open and available? Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. So we will adjourn.
7:46, we'll
Okay.
call the meeting adjourned.
7:46.
Thank you, everybody.
Online.
Have a great
Thank
night.
you for being here. And we'll see you next time.